I have been looking forward to this. One of the things that I've had going for me in my life is that I've had an incredible career, and it has taken me all over the world. I have had the opportunity to work with companies and platforms and implement ERP and do things that are truly amazing and get to see the inside workings of how companies use technology to change the way that they are providing services and experiences to their clients. And when my company decided to use Monday.com, I felt it was a game changer. This is an incredible tool that gives us a platform that we can modify things, that we can create our own processes, but in a user-friendly, intuitive way. And about three and a half months ago, I got contacted by Monday.com, and they said, would you be interested in being part of our AI pilot, AI agent pilot? And I didn't hesitate. I said, yes. And then the next question came, Jeff, what would be the proposal or use case you would do so that we could make sure you're a good fit for this pilot? And I took a couple days to think about it. And I said, I have an idea that I would like to create an agent that is going to monitor our portfolio boards and inform our project managers that fields are missing or fields need to be updated. And that was accepted as the opportunity. But at the same time, I thought, I wonder if I can create more than one agent. I wasn't clear as to what I was going to be able to do in the pilot. Well, I was approved, I was excited, and I began my journey. And in that journey, I quickly realized that one agent was not going to be nearly enough. And that one agent turned into 20 agents. So to encapsulate all this into a simple statement, out of my entire career, I have never done anything that's been more rewarding and more exciting and more frustrating, you name it, than building out this project intelligent network of 20 agents. And it is growing, and you'll see here in the presentation what's coming next. But it is amazing what we can do with these agents, and I'm excited to share with you what I've done, some of my trials and tribulations, so that you can learn from that and hopefully be able to take this back to your company and do something even more amazing than what I've been able to do. As Amin said, my name is Jeff Benton. I work for a company named Clearwater out of Boise, Idaho. And we are truly an embracer of AI at our company. A few months back, our company provided Claude licenses to all 3,000 employees, unlimited Claude. And in just a few months, it's incredible what our company has been able to do and bring to fruition, from ideas to action, and really drive productivity and client experiences forward. But the AI thing is a game changer. The AI agent, is a game changer. So let me get right into it and show you what we're going to do. So for the next 30 minutes, I want to tell you why I came up with PIN, the Project Innovation Network. I want to introduce you to these 20 agents, talk about the impact they're having. We are live, by the way, if anybody is curious. We're live with the PIN team helping us every day. How it works, talking about a closed loop autonomous system. What was the architecture, governance, and guardrails that were created to make this successful? And then give some tips and tricks on how you can begin your own. And then finally, I want to show you what I can within client confidentiality rules. I want to show you what I've done on Monday.com so you can see it live on the platform. So the why. One of the things that we're dealing with at my company is how can we spend more time with our clients? We want to spend less time on that administrative things behind the scene. We want to build stronger client relationships. We want to be consistent in our follow through. So the idea of this AI agent team was to determine how can those agents help our project management team to identify when things and actions need to take place while allowing our PMs to focus on the clients. And this has evolved over time. We didn't get it right on the first try, but wow, is it getting better every day. So the way things work at Clearwater is we are a Salesforce organization from our sales team. When a Salesforce opportunity is closed won, that opportunity is integrated into a Monday.com board. So when it's closed won, it's integrated into Salesforce. The agents are monitoring that intake board from Salesforce. And then the agents take over and they do the complete project setup, from project template to creating additional boards to what we've coined trimming the project plan so that the project plan matches exactly what was sold to our clients. So our project plan starts off at roughly 1,000 rows, and then the agents are able to look at the Salesforce opportunity, trim that down to 600 rows that are applicable to what was sold to that client. And then finally, the agents take over and they help with our onboarding team and eventually through the support handoff where it passes off to our steady state team. So the PIN team, the agents, are with our project management team all the way through the process, and nothing is falling through the cracks. So as an example, on a real Monday morning, and this is true, if a deal closed at 5 p.m. on Friday, it could be today, if a deal closed at Wednesday at 5 p.m., by tomorrow, or in this example, Monday at 8 a.m., the project would be built. The project managers would have a briefing on what was sold to the client and some of the notes from our sales team, and everything is ready to go. So the project managers wake up, they're ready to begin their day with everything set up. They do not have to spend time building out things, understand where they are, researching, clicking on links. It's all presented to them in a very useful and friendly format that helps them get started with the client. So here's the PIN team. I know this is a lot to see here, but these are 20 agents that have been built. And each one of these agents has a purpose. Now, interestingly, as I built the team out and started getting more and more specialized, you'll notice here in the center, it says 130 boards and docs. There are actually over 130 boards and documents that these agents are managing or being used to develop the agents. Everything from tracking activity, understand what emails and communications have taken place so that we can have a history, to design documents and building out the agents so that we have some retention of what the intent was if we need to make any updates. You'll notice on the screen that 2 of the agents look like robots. These are some bring your agent Claude console-based agents that I built out. They have some functions that I wasn't able to completely create using a Monday.com agent, but they are part of the PIN team because in the Bring Your Agent platform in Monday.com, I'm able to import and make the Claude agents as part of the overall project intelligence network team. But each of these agents has a specified process that they manage. Some of them are more overseers, and then some of them interface directly with our project management team and send them notices and encouragement and that type of thing. So since we've had our PIN team live, this is what we're noticing that these agents are able to carry for the team. We have over 120 distinct task types that these agents are performing on an automated basis. At Clearwater, this was a couple days ago, we have 482 active and live projects that the PIN team is monitoring and governing, making sure things don't fall through the cracks. And what we're seeing is these are about 50 to 75 human projects, or excuse me, human tasks that are being monitored and now managed by the agent team so that these project managers and other team members can focus on the client and taking care of the work. They instead receive notifications when actions are required, and that is translating to roughly 50,000 plus human tasks a year, or about 10,000 plus hours being given back. And this is extrapolated out. I expect this number to actually grow considerably as I start adding additional agents to the PIN team. But the PIN team, the agents are taking care of the busy work and letting our teams focus on the clients. And that's really important in this era where we need to make sure that we're delivering a great experience for our clients and not being so concerned of whether or not we're getting the administrative work done behind the scenes, because we've got to partner with these AI agents that are helping make sure that doesn't fall through. So it's very exciting to see the impact here. And as I said, I expect this to grow considerably over time. So to give you some idea of how the process works, these are 5 agents that are engaged from the beginning of the process. As you can see, this is only 5 of the 20, so we have 15 more that are doing other things. But starting from left to right, you see an agent. Her name is Iris Scan. A little funny side note here, all of the agents have names. And sometimes I wonder, why did I give them names? Because as I talk to my family, as I talk to my colleagues, I start referring to these agents and they're looking at me like maybe I've got a few issues I need to take care of. But I'll talk about Iris doing this or Nova doing that or Mila doing this. And it's pretty interesting. They start feeling like true team members. And actually, that was the intent. We want everybody to feel that these agents are part of the team, not somebody, some overlord that's coming along and trying to interfere and mess with their processes. But I think it's a good thing when we hear people using their names. So in our example here, in step 1, Iris is monitoring our Salesforce intake board. And that intake board is constantly updating all day long. We have set triggers for her to look at it a few times during the day. If something closed won appears, then she detects that and routes it to the correct agents. The next agent that takes over, his name is Piper Claude. He's one of my Bring Your Agents based on the Claude platform. And Piper's role is to look at that Salesforce opportunity, understand what the sales team has documented, and then write some information to a Monday.com board that explains what was sold, gives an overview of what the client was thinking because we capture certain things in the Salesforce opportunity, and basically summarize what the project management team is expected to deliver for the client. And then after Piper has done her work, Nova starts. She's the start of the Monday.com process. Her job is to tee everything up, make sure that we have the correct division, the correct team at Clearwater that is being assigned to the project. There is an opportunity where I can step in and make some overrides if I feel Nova hasn't made the right decisions. That is a little bit of the human in the middle component that I've added just to make sure that everything looks right. Otherwise, if I do not see any issues, I just let the process run and Nova takes care of it from there. But she determines which project template we're going to use. She passes that off to Mason, who, due to our own internal processes, every company has a unique process, but Mason understands that he needs to perhaps split this one Salesforce opportunity into 2, 3, or 4 different projects. And Mason does that. We found that Mason, as a Claude agent, was a little more effective at this than when I was testing some of my Monday native agents, but working with the Monday AI agent development team, I think we're going to be able to hopefully migrate that back to Monday. So looking forward to seeing some improvements there. But Mason does the remainder of the setup. And then finally, in this example, number 5, Milestone, which is short for milestone, or at least a play off of milestone. Mila, she starts engaging with the project managers and sending them information about some of our standard operating procedures, giving them updates, letting them know what they should expect, and also informing them that she is there to help if they have any questions. And they can contact Mila. Right now, we're using Outlook email to allow the teams to interface with the agents. I'm working to get Microsoft Teams set up so that can happen as well. And then as soon as we feel more comfortable about the corporate or shared agents, there's some new functionality coming out with shared agents, we will be setting that up so that our team members can interface directly by messaging the agents directly through the Monday board features. So this is a really exciting process that we've built out here. So it's a closed loop autonomous system that we don't need human intervention unless we believe we need to intervene. But all of this runs itself and it lets our teams focus on the client. So really excited about how this process has been working. As far as the build goes, all of this was built on Monday.com. So our agents on Monday.com, I use the native agent builder. Within Monday, I did mention to you those 2 Bring Your Agents. Those are the Claude agents, Mason and Piper, as I've talked about there. As far as integrations go, right now I'm integrated with Salesforce and using Outlook. I mentioned I'm going to also bring on Microsoft Teams here shortly and get that integrated as well. And then the 130 boards that I mentioned earlier. So these boards range anything from our individual portfolio boards. We're running 9 different portfolio boards right now, getting ready to scale up to 12. I have a high-level aggregate board across all of those 483 projects that you saw. I've got registry and activity logs. Activity logs is something new that I figured out as the process went along that I'd like to see what are the agents doing, have some sort of record, so that if I need to do some audit to see where things are or something looked a little bit off, I have those activity logs that the agents are maintaining. And then as far as some other board-specific items, how do we address mirror columns? How do we deal with sub-items? And then the relationships between the boards. So the board creation and setup was really a time and trial business, and I feel that we dialed this one in and did pretty well. And then finally on governance. Governance was key for this. So when you build one agent, that's interesting. When you build 20 agents, now we've got to make sure that we're using standard formats. So in this case, we standardized on the brain format or the instructions for the agents, thresholds. So a threshold would be an example of notify a project manager 30 days before a date that's contained on a field on a board. Instead of building those thresholds, in this example, the 30 days, into the agent's brain, I built it on a board. And what that does is gives us flexibility, because if we decide that 30 days is the incorrect number, it should be 15 days, then I can just make the update on the board instead of having to update the brains of all 20 agents. So that was a real learning pattern there. And then the other exciting one, the emergency stop, I've referred to it when talking to Amin as well, the kill switch. Every single agent, all 20 of them, have an instruction that says, look at the very first instruction says, look at this field on this board in monday.com, the emergency stop field. And if it says active, then stop, go no further. So that means I have the ability to go in and change one field and it pauses all agent activity. So if you need some sort of emergency where you want to pause something, this is a great governance process to put into place. And then finally, when it comes to the agents and rolling them out as far as testing goes, I have 3 different types of testing. I have a supervised testing where the agents do something and wait for my approval. And this happens before I roll these agents out to the wider audience. But the agent does something, sends me a message and says, Jeff, I'm waiting for you to approve this gate. The second one is a pilot. I want to partner with a project manager and test their specific project without putting the agent on all projects across all portfolios. And so I'm able to define specific projects that we run in this pilot. And then finally, the autonomous mode where we let the agents run. And the agents are now making decisions on their own within the guidelines that we've established within their instructions and brains. And so this has proven really nice for us to make sure everything is working as expected. A 3-tier process is here. And so in all of this, I used monday.com to help build out some of the individual agents. But when I got to a point that I was dealing with multiple agents, I decided I needed some design and testing guidance, and I partnered with Claude to do that. So Claude is my design layer behind the PIN team, and I use Claude Cowork for that to manage the process. So on monday.com, to get scale and design with discipline, when you're dealing with focused agents, and you can use Monday's Agent Builder to make a single purpose agents very fast and easy. There's no problem with that. It works fantastic. It's very intuitive. We don't necessarily need that design layer across multiple agents. But when you're talking about coordinating a team of agents, think about just hiring 20 brand new college grads and bringing them in. How are you going to coordinate the training? How are you going to coordinate the quality control of everything that these agents are doing, or these new hires? You need some help. And in this case, I partnered, like I said, with Claude. And Claude helps me oversee. I can do testing. I was doing some testing earlier today. With Claude, it helps create the testing. I track it all on a monday.com board. And this has been invaluable for me to be able to step back and see the big picture of every agent and make sure that we're designing something that will be successful. I like this part about the adoption. As I shared with you earlier, when I said Monday asked me what would be my use case for being part of the agent testing beta program, I had said I wanted an agent that would be able to look at a portfolio board and send a message to a team member and say, hey, this field isn't filled in, or this field is stale, I need a status update, or something to that effect. And what I found that was very, very easy to do. You can spin that up in minutes with an agent and have the agent send something to a person telling them you missed this. But what I found in some of my testing and some of my design tests and my design processes was that was viewed as something fairly punitive. Hey, Jeff, you didn't complete this, get it done. And after a while, I think our teams would have gotten very annoyed with that. So instead of going with what I call that punitive or policing type approach, I said, how can we be more collaborative? How can we design an agent team that comes alongside of our project managers and onboarding teams and say, we've got you, we're here to help you out. And that was the game changer for us. Build an AI agent team that is helping and giving guidance, not policing and telling them what they're doing wrong. So we have built into our agents to say, hey, Jeff, this field is blank. This is why it's important. Let me know if you need help. And by the way, this fits PMBOK or Prince2 standards, and it helps our PMs also get better understanding of project management and encourages them to work on their certifications. So this was a huge change in getting our onboarding teams to embrace the AI agents and really made a difference. But as a caveat, just so you know, to go from this policing state to this guidance partnership state, it takes a lot of extra work. So don't think it's just going to happen overnight. I just want you to be aware of it, that the outcomes and the experience is so much better when you design something that's here to help people and not cause fear. So this was a really big win for us. As far as the governance, to come back and give a little more detail on this, I mentioned that we have 3 steps of our governance when it comes to testing, and you can see starting from left, we've got the supervised. This is every action gets approved. So I've got a brand new agent, I'm running through a battery of tests. I want the agent to run something, stop, let me look and see how it did. Then I approve that and it can move forward. Finally, on the pilot, this is, as I shared, it's scoped. We have some partners with our project managers that want to participate. So we run this pilot and we pick 1 or 2 projects and we see how does that scale, what are some iterations we need to make to improve this. And then finally, when we feel that we have the full trust of the agent, we can turn them on and they're fully autonomous, closed loop. And this has been invaluable in our process for making sure that our agent team is going to be successful. So we're earning the trust from bottom to top. I talked to you about that emergency stop. 1 control halts the entire fleet. So they are stopped, and that works. I tested it actually yesterday because I was making several brain updates for a new, what I call fleet standard that I wanted to approve. So I just applied the stop and everything worked as expected. And then I mentioned to you the thresholds as well. Those thresholds are living on a board, so I don't have to change the brain every time. So if I have something set with a threshold of X number of days or X number of hours or whatever it might be, just change the board and the agents are referring to that board instead of having to do an update in their brain. If you haven't done any agent building, it'll make sense once you get involved in it, but it's pretty interesting. So some feedback, what I do differently or what I'd make sure that I do from day one, some things that I would build upon here. You want to make sure that you keep every agent focused. The best way I can describe this is if you have a young child, a 5-year-old, and you tell your 5-year-old it's time for bed, I need you to go brush your teeth, I need you to pick up your toys, I need you to go put your pajamas on, I need you to go get a drink of water. Chances are that 5-year-old's going to get maybe one of those things done out of the 4 you just asked them to do. AI agents aren't a whole lot different. So it's really important that you make sure that these agents are subject matter experts and they're focused on a single thing, and they do that well. That's one of the reasons that I have 20 agents. I could have built 1 or 2 agents to do everything, but what I was finding in the testing is things were getting dropped. So keep every agent focused. The never let a sub-agent improvise. This was a hard lesson learned. I had an agent that I kicked off a few weeks ago, and I knew this agent had to send out 81 emails. I had done the work. I knew what this agent was going to do. I had tested this agent over and over. It was doing work perfectly as expected. So I kicked it off. I'd made it autonomous, and I said, go. And I was watching the agent's activity. It got through as it was looking at each one of our portfolio boards. It got through 1 portfolio board. It got through a 2nd portfolio board. And I kid you not, the agent in the activity said, this is a lot of work. I think I need to call some sub-agents. And all of a sudden, the AI agent spun up 2 sub-agents so it could get this done more quickly. The downside was the sub-agents did not follow the same instructions or brain set of the Monday AI agent, and it hallucinated like crazy. 41 emails went out with made-up client names, with made-up emails, and that was a hard lesson learned. I had to walk back quite a few things, and it took me a little while to get that mess cleaned up. But now every one of my agents has built into their instruction set that they are not allowed to call sub-agents. And since I've added that to their instruction set, I've not had an issue since. We talked about the guardrails, making sure that we have that emergency stop set up. We have the testing in place. And so that's really critical for your success. And then finally, document as you go. I can't tell you the number of times I've had to come back and say, why did we make that decision? But if you're documenting as you design and you're keeping track of the reasons why your agent does something, then you'll be really glad that you put in this discipline that says document everything before you get too far down the road. I've mentioned to you that I'm going to be growing the agents. I've got 3 more agents on deck here. I've got an agent. Currently, we're using a third-party email tool to send out some notifications to our leadership team when projects go live or when there's a handoff between teams or if it's billing ready. I'm going to use an agent to do that because I believe the agent could do it better. So I'm really excited to bring on this, what I'm calling a milestone broadcaster. And I'll talk about this one here in the middle in a second. Then the client pulse manager. I'm going to create an agent that's going to manage our NPS and CSAT surveys. I'm really excited about this one. I think this is going to be amazing. I've already built some of the framework around it. So this agent will be our first agent that interfaces with a client outside of internal operations. So this will be an exciting test. And then finally, this division efficiency analyst. I'm going to do another bring your agent with the Claude platform. And I'm going to look for an agent, if you will, that's going to do reviews of the agents. So if it comes up high and looks across them, I want it to come back and spot inefficiencies and suggest where we can improve. So this will be an interesting test to see if I can pull this one off. But it's important to note that all of these agents will be managed through Monday.com. So I'll have both native agents and the Bring Your Agent. So it's really exciting that you can track everything in a single place and gain efficiencies that way. So if you're thinking about beginning your AI agent journey, I'd ask yourself, where could an agent give your team some time back? Think about those operations that are just repetitive. What are some things that an agent could take on that could monitor while your team focuses on the other higher value tasks, and the agent can interact with your team? Where do you need a human to stay in the loop? I mentioned to you that when one of the agents, Nova, goes out and looks at some of our opportunities in Salesforce, she makes a decision which team will be onboarding that client for us. Then I have the opportunity to say, hey, Nova, let me look at this, and I can make some changes as needed. But otherwise, you can make the determination how autonomous they are. But think about, where does the human need to stay? And I know it takes people some time to get comfortable with this process, but once we've embraced it, this has been incredible. What's your emergency stop? We talked about that. Are you going to be able to build in something where you can stop all the agents just in the event that you're saying something's not right? I need to make sure that we don't get off track too far. And then how do you want to build a test plan before you trust these agents to take your important business and start running with it? So think about these 4 questions. I'd encourage you, these will help you design something that's a lot more exciting. And for those of you that might have security conversations with your team, I've been very fortunate at my company where our IT and security team has embraced AI. And while we're not out of control, we are very trustworthy. But at the same time, as you can see, the governance is helping. But start supervised with these agents. Don't give them too much. Give them the least privilege access to the boards. Maybe they can just read the board. They can't write to the board. Some of my agents actually write, but I've tested, log everything. This was some critical thing I missed at the beginning. I wasn't logging everything. So I've had to go back and make sure the agents are documenting so I know exactly what they've done. And then prove one small win before you go too far. This is exciting so that you can, excuse me, be able to show everyone, hey, look what we can do. And I feel confident that once you show people what success that you can have, you'll be able to have all kinds of wins on your side. So hopefully that's helpful. And where you begin, and we go from there. But what I'd like to do now with your approval is take us to show you what I've been doing and what the agents look like in Monday.com. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this on my screen. What I've got up here is the Monday agents screen, and this is live. This is not some test environment. What I've got is, I've got 3 agents that I pause right now because I'm doing some, if you will, brain surgery on them. I've got to make a few more changes to them. But as I scroll through here are my 20 agents, the same pictures that I shared with you on the board. And let me take one here. I'm just going to pick Thursday. Her name is Thursday. And as creative as I get, the reason her name is Thursday is because Thursday scans on Thursdays. That's when it begins. So to create a new agent in Monday, actually, I'll go back here. You can click New Agent, and it'll ask you some questions. You can use one of the predefined agents that Monday has provided for us that gives you some suggestions, I think, based on some of the things that they see in your Monday setup. Or you can bring your own agent or start from blank. I've been doing from blank on all of mine, but on your Meet Your Agent here underneath in this box, you can literally start telling the AI what you want your agent to do, and it will start building out the agent instructions for you. So it's really helpful for you to play around with this and get comfortable with what you're doing, and it becomes easy after that. Like I said, this is one of the most exciting things that I think I've ever done in my career. So let me go back to Thursday. I just chose Thursday randomly. I promise she's not set up for anything special here, but in Thursday, I'll take you here to her brain, and within her brain, I have her instruction set, and I'll expand that here in a second. What knowledge and access does Thursday have? These are all of the boards and documents that she might need access to. And as you add more, you can say add for Monday, you can search for your boards and make a selection. And then you can give each one of these agents access. So in this case, for the supervised gates board, Thursday is an owner, but they can be a default, just the default, or a viewer. And so since Thursday is required to write to some of these, I give her owner access. And again, back to that lowest level for your security options, you can come in here and make somebody a viewer only, just like you would a real person. If there are some additional files that you want your agent to have access to, you can add these here. And then tools. So in my case, I've given Thursday access to Microsoft Outlook and Microsoft Teams. You can give the agent access to search the web or to the AI note taker as well. Or Monday provides us with access to a lot of tools that are able to be used. So Zoom and GitHub and Google and so forth. So a lot of opportunities there. And then skills. So Monday provides you with a default set of skills that you can assign to these agents. And then these Monday skills are here. So project risk insights, meeting actions, feedback. My favorite one that's here, which Thursday already has, is the HTML email builder. If you're going to have your agents send email, please make sure that you select this one. It will make your emails look so much better. I had to go back and edit. I think I had about 15 agents at the time. I had to re-edit every brain to add this skill in, and this was a game changer for me. But you can also create your own skills, which I've created about 25 different skills that I've added. So I told you that as part of our agent process, we are coaching our project managers. So I created a skill called PM coaching. And here are some of the instructions and inputs and output format, and then you can iterate on this and make it better and more informative and more accurate as you go. So the skills are important. Skills are shared across agents. And then finally, I haven't changed any of the AI models, but Monday.com allows you to choose your favorite AI model, and there are quite a few that you can choose from. I just let it do auto and figure out what it wants to play. So let me go back to the brain for Thursday. I'm going to expand this, and I'm sure this is pretty small for all of you, but each one of these brains, we've got some front matter to use some of these markdown terminologies, but each one of my agents has a name. I give them a role. They have an agent ID. This is assigned by Monday.com, and that becomes important if you're going to use Claude or some other platform to help with your design. And then I started adding a versioning number. So all of my agents started at version 1, and I think Thursday we probably went up to 1.20 or something, and now we're at 2.15. So I've made a lot of iterations on her brain as we go forth. And then it was last updated, in her case, yesterday. I added some new functionality, but this is really helpful for me to be able to see where I am on the journey with this agent. And then the information in the brain, this tells her exactly how she's supposed to perform. What is her scope? What is her access? And then finally, what does she need to do? And as you can see, there's all kinds of information in here. And Monday provides you with some of the setup guidance to create your own brains. I started creating a little bit different format because I wanted to standardize it across all of my agents. So I found something that works. You want to make sure you just find something that works for you, and then what are the different types of triggers, et cetera. But each one of these agents is unique. This is how they perform. So when we talk about the agent being a subject matter expert, Thursday's expertise is she is the project health orchestrator. So she's every week, a couple times a week, she's looking across our projects, making sure that our project managers are updating their statuses, making sure their RAG statuses are correct, et cetera, and sending words of encouragement to them and asking them to take care of a few things. So you can see here in the activity, Thursday's been able to do quite a bit of running. You can see how many AI credits she's used and what she's done. So you can click on each one of these and you can see what activities took place. If there is a failure, for example, when one of the agents makes a run, you can see exactly what went wrong and you can work to fix it. Sometimes what I've noticed is I ask my agents to do too much volume, and so the volume caused it to stop. And so I had to go back and make some adjustments to their instructions brain to say, do them in batches instead. And that fixed the issue, but all of it's trial and error, and it's gone along pretty well. So all of my agents are pretty autonomous, and they're having fun, and I'm having fun as well.